Kanye West is a genius and mentally disturbed at the same time. What else you expect from a dude that went through the door, right? Kanye West is Kaiser Soze. Kaiser Soze? Kanye West is Kaiser Soze. He's Kaiser Soze. It may be appearing that he's for the people. The powers that be don't let you become that powerful when they can't control you. So they use Kanye West to create distractions. And this is what he's doing right now.
The show started late, and that's what the press was about.
Yes, I'm gonna come to them.
After my season show started late, season 4 show started late, the press completely killed us. We did change the look of fashion over the past 10 years. We are the streets. We are the culture. And we will not be bullied or treated differently than you treat any other fashion show that might start a little bit later just to present the best idea to you. But these pictures will last forever. This is something that you will not be able to un-Google. I am Ye.
Yes.
And everyone here knows that I am the leader.
Y'all gotta understand something, man. When Kanye West told you that slavery was a choice, that was one of my biggest videos, my reaction video ever on YouTube when I responded to Kanye West. Slavery was a choice. How many of you decided, because you didn't want to march your ass down to that doctor and make a decision that you didn't want to do, but you did it because you wanted to keep your job? How many of you sat up there and had to make a decision that had you teary-eyed, but you didn't know how you was going to how you was going to live at that deadline that they gave you? How many people lost their job and made the decision to go against the grain and say, you know what, I don't care what these devils say. I don't feel comfortable. My body, my choice. How many people went in the other side? I went to see it was a choice. In life, there's a choice to live free or die hard. You got to understand something. These celebrities ain't nothing but test dummies. When you see them beefing with each other, when you see Kanye West doing what he's doing right now, he's doing it for a reason. There's a method to his madness, but regardless of what, he has been selected. Not elected, he has been selected by the Illuminati to be $6 billion greater than Jay-Z, which means that he serves a purpose on a later date. He serves a purpose. Jay-Z clothing line, Rockaware, was hot. Kanye West's clothing line is trash. They say numbers don't lie, but they do lie. Just keep on paying attention. The numbers do lie. I mean, what's going on in the world right now that they don't want you to see? Paying attention to what's really, really going on. Let me talk to y'all. Matter of fact, you know what? Let me try something real quick. Candace Owens. I'm going to let Shorty speak for herself real quick.
All right, usually I begin every episode with a question of the day, but it seems that the questions are coming to me. The big one being, why did Candace Owens and Kanye West wear White Lives Matter t-shirts last night at his Yeezy Season 9 show here in Paris? I'm still in Paris. Here's the shirt, by the way. If you're listening, you can probably find it anywhere online. It seems we broke the internet, but if you're watching, here it is, the notorious White Lives Matter shirt, which has inspired a meltdown, a breakdown for some people. I think my question is, why? Why did this t-shirt or our t-shirts inspire such a meltdown for so many people? I'm going to talk to you about the breakfast that I just had with Ye, and some further remarks that he made on his Instagram. All that and more today on Candace Owens.
I'll let her speak for herself, man. And then you be the judge. See, I want y'all to understand something. Some of the things that she said I agree with. Some of the things she said I don't agree with. Just because you have people that use their voice for the people, that don't mean they're for the people. You have to understand something. Your enemy picks your enemy and picks your hero. Don't let that go over your head. Your enemy has handpicked it. Your enemy and your hero as well.
He wore a t-shirt that says White Lives Matter. We wore this for his Easy Season 9 fashion show here in Paris. And people are upset. They're very upset about that. They're going, why on earth? How could you? How dare you wear this shirt? How dare you make a mockery of the BLM movement? In addition to this, in case you missed it on Kanye West's Instagram page, he wrote this: everyone knows that Black Lives Matter was a scam. Now it's over. You're welcome. That is the only response or the only thing that he has said publicly about wearing the t-shirt. And you obviously know, if you're watching this, where I stand on the Black Lives Matter movement. In fact, I'm doing an entire documentary to expose the fraudulent nature of that movement and the organization that stood behind it and benefited billions and billions of dollars.
Billions and billions of dollars was made off of Black Lives Matter and Until Freedom. The umbrella, billions fell on both of those groups, right? All these groups, the umbrellas rather, of Black Lives Matter, which is also Until Freedom, my son and Tamika Mary. All of these groups got billions of dollars that they scammed. And then when Tamir Rice's mother realized that all of these niggas got rich off of the name of her child, my son sat up there and said, I never mentioned your child. Yes, you did. You got a whole rap on the internet talking about Tamir Rice. Yeah, you did. Y'all benefited off the deaths of black people. The mothers is still stuck in the hood, and these niggas done ran off and bought houses in penthouse buildings and driving $100,000 cars. So y'all more focused on the fact that Kanye West wore a shirt that said White Lives Matter because he was insulting your stupidity, but y'all not mad at the fact that these people done ran away with millions of dollars worth of houses that they bought. The family of the deceased is still living in the hood, while these niggas done got rich and ran off the Cadillac commercials and BET Awards, and y'all went from that? Nah, but I'm gonna let Candace continue on.
Grief. They sold Black people a concept of their oppression. They used poorer Black Americans as a marketing firm for their organization. And where did that money go? Well, certainly not to Black America. So I had this wonderful thing this morning, this wonderful experience, and I'll tell you why it was wonderful. I had breakfast with Ye at his hotel, and it was wonderful because it was one of those moments where I realized how far I've come from where I was. The first time that I ever came to Paris, ironically, I was having breakfast with a woman whose family I worked for, and she was so awful to me. And I'll never forget this moment because it almost ruined Paris for me. It was a wealthy woman who told me, as we sat in her hotel, which was the George Cinq Hotel, she said, Candace, a girl like you shouldn't even be here. Look how expensive the omelet is that you're eating. Do you see how expensive it is? An omelet is $35. A girl like you can't afford this hotel, or you can't afford to stay here. And I remember I was so upset that when I left that breakfast, I was crying because I was so angry that anybody had spoken to me like that. And fast forward, I guess, more than 10 years now, and I'm sitting at a hotel with having an omelet, by the way, with Ye West, and we are discussing.
She couldn't afford a $35 omelet, and look at her now. Wow. You can do anything you put your mind to.
The internet, which we just broke over this t-shirt. I just started jotting down some things that he was saying because he was actually giving an interview to another magazine. and he said, "I perform for an audience of one, and that's God." I loved that statement, so I wrote it down. He also said, quote, "Utopia is possible for it not who we are being led by." I'm going to say that again. Utopia is possible for it not who we are being led by.
Kanye West prays to the Baphomet. Kim Kardashian walks around with a pentagram on her back. Let's stop with the mind games. His God is not your God, but let's continue on.
These people who claim to be leaders and knew that what they were doing was further dividing the masses. I mean, the whole idea here via the Black Lives Matter movement was to make sure that Black people saw oppression and saw white supremacy surrounding them and convincing them that if they leaned into this narrative, that somehow their lives would be better. It was a mirage. Actually, that's a word that Ye used during the breakfast too. It was basically a mirage, right? This idea that somehow all we needed to do was burn down our own neighborhoods. All we needed to do was have our youth wearing a George Floyd t-shirts. All we needed to do was loot Targets and loot these expensive stores, and somehow justice would be delivered. And of course it wasn't. There is a deep...
Hold up. Now let me make this clear, right? Who encouraged the people to burn down the community? Tamika Mallory got on the news and encouraged the youth to set the cities on fire. And the government, your government, let her get away with that shit. If I would have said something like that, I would be in jail. The INFAC leader, right? Forgot the brother name. The black brother that had the black military group stood outside and looked through his scope at the police on the roof and just pointed his gun and looked at them. He has a federal case right now. He's quiet. So the dude that actually, who it appears to be, who's not being sponsored, which I had questions about him, because now every time you have a black hero, you got to look at him with the side eye. We can't trust us. Look, in a prime example, it's Black Lives Matter right now. Y'all mad at Kanye West for wearing a shirt that says White Lives Matter, when really, when you really sit back and think about it, most of the people in the hood don't really give a damn about him wearing that shirt. It's the puppets. So because the internet, the algorithm is pushing that on you, it's making you believe that you really give a damn about that when you try to figure out how to rob Peter and pay Paul. But just to set the record straight, Tamika Mallory, yeah, you was the one who sat up there. And during that time, let me give y'all a little history lesson. Me and my son talked on the phone. We squashed our beef. I promised the brother I wasn't going to make no more videos about him, and we was going to, be cool. But then I seen Tamika Mallory entice those kids to burn the goddamn AutoZone and the Targets down. But what really was they was burning down black-owned and Latino, mostly Latino-owned businesses in the Bronx. The last of the small mom-and-pop businesses was being burnt down. She encouraged that. He sat there and didn't say nothing about it. Like a deadbeat, like one of them parents, your kids is hitting on everybody in the park, and you see your kid, but you won't correct your kid, until finally somebody's parent come in the park and whoop your kid and your kid ass and your ass. Yeah.
Irony, and a sad irony when you consider that wearing a t-shirt has led such a tremor throughout the world, right? A t-shirt that says White Lives Matter, which should be implied, right? White Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Asian Lives Matter, it should be implied. Yet people are angry and they are being vicious online because they can't believe that we have the audacity to detract from the movement, which is a lie, right? Black Lives Matter. If Black Lives Matter, then some of these things that we have been talking about on this show, things I've been talking about throughout my entire political career, would be getting attention, not the t-shirt, right? Not the t-shirt, but these actual statistics that matter. And here are just a few of them.
Listen up. Black Lives Matter, right? I had to create slogans. Like he got his snot box rocked. He got his TV turned off. I had to create slogans to bring awareness to all the deaths that was happening to up and coming rappers. To where that my audience all over, and people all over the world was like, yo, this nigga is ill. Is this the illest nigga in Nebraska? Yes, I am. I had to reinvent myself to bring awareness to black deaths that nobody gave a damn about. Now when you look at TV, you see commercials with 50 Cent getting ready to actually put a spotlight on all the killers that's been happening in Utah. Or to these young rappers. Yeah. I don't care what y'all say. I'm the one that put the spotlight on drill music, especially in New York City. Where's drill music at now? This shit came so strong and ended so strong. It had so many deaths, the niggas that was killing wiped themselves out. Little D thing. I pray to God that he find his way home back to his mother and his family. He done went from having gun cases to now he's sitting up there with a damn near a federal case in the feds. K Flock fighting a murder case after y'all see me go on Math Hoffa show. Shout out to Math Hoffa. I sat on Math Hoffa platform and talked about how these drill rappers, right? And let me say something, right? Matter of fact, I'll get into that a little bit later. These drill rappers started making more money. Method Man sat on Math Hoffa platform and said he don't understand how these young up-and-coming artists that's independent are making more money than the legends. Some of these artists is getting on jets, private jets. Method Man is a legendary rapper / actor now who said he's never been on a private jet. Oh, let's get to that. But you can make a song based off of a murder that really, really happened. Diss the dead and go to the bank and cash out. 2 months later, that rapper's dead. Somebody's dissing him. The person who dissed them, there's a big bag for them. There's a concert for them. And then 3 months later, they're dead. Welcome to drill music. I'm the one that put the spotlight on that. But if Black Lives really mattered, why nobody else in the music industry, all the legends? But we'll get to that. Let me let Candace speak. Listen to her PowerPoints.
117,626 Black children were killed by surgical abortion in the United States in 2018, right? Those are recent statistics. Just so we are clear, abortion in America has contributed to the greatest decline in Black population since the first Black slaves arrived. Ooh. You will hear people often talk about lynching. This is like a new thing. They like neoliberalism. They could talk about lynching and they compare everything to lynchings. It's just like being lynched. Well, for your reference, you should know that 4,467 people in the United States were victims of lynchings from 1883 to 1941. 3,265 of those people were Black. And you keep talking about lynching as this horrific thing that's happened in the past, right? And yet when you say to people today that 20 million Black infants were aborted, they don't even blink an eye. They don't even bat an eyelash.
20 million. 20 million. So you saying that Black woman is just flushing Black babies down the toilet? Are you telling me that Black women are just flushing Black babies down the toilet? Go ahead, Candace, with your bad self.
No, less than batting an eyelash. They tell those same Black people that they need to be outraged when a Planned Parenthood clinic shuts down. 20 million. When you talk about people that are killed in the millions, when you talk about the Jewish Holocaust, when you talk about the Rwandan Holocaust, people are, oh my gosh, this is horrible, of course, because it is horrible. But for whatever reason, Since we have convinced ourselves to genocide our own offspring, nobody cares. Nobody cares. They don't badmouth. In fact, they tell you that it is your right. So think about that. 20 million black.
20 million. Where's all the fathers at? Why these psychotic chicks is going to the abortion clinic? Where's all the fathers at?
Babies, and yet a t-shirt is what got attention last night. In 2012, more black babies were killed by abortion in New York City than were born. Imagine that, your abortion rate being higher than your live birth rate in a city.
In 2012, you had more children aborted than was born. But Black Lives Matter? When? How?
They celebrate it. Do you remember notoriously the governor lit up the city pink when they talked about expanding abortion rights, expanding the black genocide, light up the skyscrapers pink. It is a win. A win for who, though, is the question. A win for who? 79% of Planned Parenthood abortion facilities are located within walking distance of neighborhoods that have a higher proportion of Latina and Black women. But that's not the only thing that's killing Black America, literally. We also know obesity is killing Black America. I wish, you know what we should have done? We should have put a White Lives Matter t-shirt on Lizzo. Maybe we could have gotten a lot of attention about obesity and how it's actually killing Black Americans.
She said we should have put a White Lives Matter t-shirt on Lizzo fat ass.
Obesity is the #1 killer in America, okay? I know Black Lives Matter told you it was police shootings, right? And made you think that thousands of Black men were dying at the hands of police. No, absolutely not. I think in the year 2020, was it 9 unarmed Black men were killed by police, 9 of them? But obesity is killing people at a very high rate, and Black women have the highest rates of obesity. It's the #1 killer, and of course, we sit at the top of it. Black women, 56.9% of us are classified as obese. We shouldn't talk about that. You know why?
57% of Black women is obese. And Lizzo running around promoting obesity. I know me and my family, sickness has ran through some of my aunts and uncles. I couldn't make my Uncle Larry's funeral because I had COVID. COVID whooped my ass. COVID whooped my ass. It took me almost a month to get over that. That was a fight like I ain't never fought in my life. That whipped my ass. But my uncle, my mother, some of I'm gonna start doing more videos on this obesity. And even with highs right now, I gotta bring my weight down. Obesity, 57%. But Black Lives Matter, they play musical chairs with the mind of Black people. We are in a sunken place. We are in the sunken place. It's time for us to wake up, and it's time for y'all to start paying attention to real events that's going on and look in between the lines. When they want you to look left, you look right. When they want you to look right, you look left. Because it's just like the assassination of Malcolm X. Boom, the smoke screen. Get your hand out of my pocket. Meanwhile, they airing Malcolm X out. You looking towards the back. He getting aired out in the front. Pay attention. There's a war going on outside no man is safe from. Prodigy wrote it, and I'm repping it for him.
because it didn't have a t-shirt on it that said white lives matter. You talk about criminality. No one wants to talk about it if you're not talking about a police officer, right? People don't want to talk about the fact that black people are slaughtering other black people. People don't want to talk about black on black crime. It doesn't matter because we're doing it to ourselves, right? Just like we're aborting our own babies. Applaud it. Applaud it. In fact, put it in the music. Put the criminality in the music and celebrate it. Give it a Grammy. Give black criminality a Grammy so that we understand that this is ours. Sit in the cool club, right? Now we know what it means to be black. Now we know what it means to not be a traitor to your own race. Murder your own race. And if you don't do it in your womb, grab a gun. Kill the guy next to you. Applause all around the world.
Hold up. Heel up. Wheel up. Bring it back. Come rewind. She said if you don't do it in the womb by flushing it down the toilet, you do it with a gun. Ooh. Hey, yo, Sue Surf. Could I put it in subtitles or something? Ooh.
Per the CDC, African Americans are 4 times more likely to be killed by a gun than the overall population. And once again, it's not a white person that is pulling the trigger. It's another black person. We account for almost 40% of all of the homicide offenders in the United States. 40% coming from the smallest piece of the population. We're talking about, 7% of the population is black men, and they're accounting for 40% of all of the homicides in the United States. But let's not talk about that. In fact,
so we're 7% of the population, but we accountable for 40% of killing ourselves. But you stupid fools keep talking about, well, white people do it too. White people. Hey, white people. White people do it too. Shut up. They say white people used to be cannibals. Do you want to eat somebody? Do you want to eat your next door neighbor? They said white people believed in incest. Do you want to sleep with your sister? I bet you do, right? Uncle Ben Bada, Uncle Russell, huh? Like, stop playing with me, man. A black man is 4 times more eligible to catch a bullet than anybody else in this country. And guess who he's catching the bullet from? Another black man. But you talking about Black Lives Matter? When? How?